Albert Einstein was born in Ulm, Germany. His family was loving, and their home was full of warmth and gentle laughter. As a child, Albert was quiet and thoughtful. He spent many evenings listening to his mother play soft music on the piano. He liked to watch the light in his room, wondering why shadows changed as the day slowly turned into night. Albert often played alone. He was not quick to speak, but he liked to ask questions in his heart about the world. His father took him on long walks in the park, showing him how the green leaves moved in the gentle wind each morning. One day, Albert's father gave him a simple compass. He saw the needle always pointed north, and it made him wonder deeply. He could not stop thinking about what made the needle move. He asked his parents, but they did not know the answer. The mystery of the compass filled his young mind with new dreams. He started to feel curious about many other things. When Albert went to school, he was shy and did not like to talk much. Other children sometimes did not understand him. His teachers thought he was slow to learn, but he was only lost in thought, dreaming about big ideas in his own world. Even when lessons were hard, Albert did not give up. He read many books at home, enjoying quiet moments with each page. His mother noticed his love for learning and always encouraged him, saying that slow steps could lead to great things. Albert liked mathematics the most. The beauty of numbers made him happy. He solved puzzles late into the quiet night. He often felt different from others, but he learned to be patient and to trust in his own way of thinking. As the years passed, Albert grew older and found comfort in his curiosity. Each question brought him closer to himself. Even when he made mistakes, he tried again. He saw that every failure was only a small lesson for a better tomorrow. At home, Albert built small models and played with simple machines. He liked to see how things worked and moved. He talked to his uncle about math and science. These talks helped him feel less alone in his big dreams. The world outside sometimes felt confusing to Albert, but at home he felt free to explore his thoughts. Slowly, he became more confident, sharing his ideas with his family. They listened with interest and gentle smiles. As he moved to new schools, Albert faced new challenges. Some teachers liked his ideas, but some did not understand. He learned to keep going, even when others doubted him. He knew that his questions mattered, even if answers were far. Mathematics became his favorite language. He felt joy in solving problems, and it made him feel calm inside. Albert sometimes walked alone after school, watching how sunlight touched the river. Nature always inspired him to think. At home, he read about famous scientists. He dreamed that maybe one day he could discover something important too. When lessons felt difficult, Albert remembered the compass. Its mystery had taught him that some questions need time. He kept working on math problems, drawing shapes and numbers in his notebook late into the night by soft lamplight. Albert's father lost his business, and the family moved to a new city. Everything felt new, and Albert missed his old home. He found it hard to adjust at first, but his love for learning helped him feel less lonely in a strange place. At his new school, the rules were strict. Albert did not always agree with his teachers, but he respected their lessons. Even when school was hard, Albert trusted his own way. He kept reading, learning, and thinking for himself each day. He made a few friends who also liked science. Together, they talked about stars, numbers, and big dreams for the future. One evening, while reading by the window, Albert wondered if light could move as fast as his thoughts. It became a big question. He did not have the answer yet, but he felt excited to keep searching. Each new question gave him hope for tomorrow. Albert sometimes watched the stars outside his window, feeling small but excited. He dreamed about space and the secrets above. During long afternoons, he often drew simple machines and lines on paper. These drawings helped him imagine new ideas. Every day, Albert found comfort in quiet routines. He enjoyed slow walks, listening to birds, and thinking about puzzles in his mind. His school days were sometimes lonely, but he never lost his curiosity. Each lesson was a small step toward understanding more. He was not the best at memorizing facts, but he loved solving problems in new ways. This made him different from many classmates. One kind teacher noticed Albert's passion for numbers. She encouraged him, making him feel seen and valued in the classroom. At home, Albert helped his younger sister with her homework. He tried to share his love for learning in gentle, patient ways. His parents worked hard to give Albert and his sister a better life. Their support made Albert feel safe to keep asking questions. When the family faced problems, Albert watched his parents stay strong. Their hope showed him the power of not giving up. Albert learned that life could be hard sometimes, but kindness and patience could help people face any challenge. He carried these lessons with him every day, always trying to see the good even when things did not go as planned. As Albert grew older, his questions grew bigger too. He wondered about time, light, and how everything in the world worked. He spent more evenings reading books about science. The more he read, the more he wanted to discover new things himself. When he felt tired or lost, Albert played his violin. The music helped him find peace and remember his dreams. Each gentle note made him feel hope. He believed that, with patience, anyone could find their own path in the world. Albert's family moved again, this time to Switzerland. He felt nervous but also excited for the chance to start fresh. In the new city, he joined a different school. The teachers there were kinder and the lessons more interesting for him. He met students from many places, each with their own stories and dreams. Albert learned new ways to see the world. Slowly, he made friends who shared his love for science. They talked about big ideas and helped each other with hard problems. These friendships gave Albert new energy. He realized that learning together was even more powerful than learning alone. His teachers in Switzerland noticed his talent in math. They often gave him extra problems to solve, and he enjoyed the challenge. Albert studied hard, but he also took time to rest and walk by the river. He understood that balance was important in life. Sometimes he still struggled with rules or strict lessons, but he kept his mind open and learned from each experience. He grew more confident with every small success. Each time he solved a difficult question, he felt a little braver. Albert wrote his ideas in notebooks. He filled page after page with numbers, sketches, and small thoughts about the universe. He did not know if his ideas were right, but he was happy just to explore and learn, step by step, every single day. His family was proud of him, but Albert knew that true happiness came from loving what you do, not from praise or awards. When he finished school, Albert wanted to go to university. He prepared carefully for the entrance exams, studying every night. The exams were hard, and he was nervous. Some subjects were easy, but others were not. He tried his best and stayed hopeful. Even when he did not get top marks in every subject, Albert did not give up. He learned from his mistakes and tried again. Finally, he was accepted into university in Zurich. He felt proud and grateful for the chance to keep following his dreams. At university, Albert studied physics and mathematics. The subjects were even harder now, but he loved every challenge. He often stayed up late, reading books, writing notes, and talking with classmates about new ideas they found exciting. Albert enjoyed long talks with his professors. They encouraged him to think deeply and ask questions, no matter how simple. He sometimes felt lost among so many smart students, but he remembered that each person's path was different. With every problem he solved, Albert felt his confidence grow. He knew that real learning came from not giving up. He also learned that working together brought new ideas. Group study sessions became his favorite part of university life. Albert made friends from many countries. Their stories inspired him and helped him see the world in new, colorful ways. He learned to listen as much as he spoke, and this made him a better student and a kinder friend to those around him. After years of hard work, Albert finished his studies. He wanted to become a teacher, but it was not easy to find a job. He sent letters to many schools, hoping for an answer. Weeks passed, and he waited with hope and a little worry in his heart. When no school offered him a job, Albert felt sad but did not lose faith. He knew every dream took time and patience. Finally, he found a job at the patent office in Bern. It was not his dream job, but it gave him a chance to use his mind. At the office, he read other people's inventions. He learned to see problems in new ways and found time to think about his own ideas. Even though the work was sometimes boring, Albert stayed curious. He brought a notebook to write his thoughts during breaks. He never stopped learning. Each day, he asked himself new questions and tried to see the world a little differently. Albert also made new friends in Bern. Together, they formed a small group to talk about science, books, and big questions. These talks inspired him and helped him feel less alone. Sharing ideas made each day brighter and full of hope. After work, Albert spent hours at home thinking about light, time, and space. His curiosity never seemed to end. He wrote papers about his ideas, testing them again and again, never afraid to start over if something felt wrong. Even when he was tired, he kept going. He believed that small steps taken every day could lead to something great. One day, he wrote a paper about the way light travels. He sent it to a science journal, hoping someone would read it. He did not expect much, but soon scientists across Europe noticed his work. They were surprised by his new way of thinking. The news made Albert feel proud, but he stayed humble. He knew there was still so much more to learn and discover. Encouraged by his first success, he continued to write more papers. Each one explored new questions about the universe. Slowly, the world began to notice Albert's talent. Scientists wanted to meet him and learn more about his ideas. Even as people praised him, Albert remembered his childhood quiet days, gentle music, and the joy of asking questions. He never stopped being curious. Each day, he woke up ready to learn something new, no matter how small or simple. His work at the patent office helped him see the beauty in small details. Every invention had its own story and lesson. In time, Albert became a teacher at a university. He enjoyed helping students find their own passion for learning. He taught with patience and kindness, always reminding his students that mistakes were just a part of the journey. Albert's ideas about light, time, and space slowly changed the way scientists saw the universe. He was happy to share what he knew, but he never forgot his roots. He remembered the compass, the music, and the lessons of hope his parents taught him. He worked hard every day, always trying to learn more. Success did not come quickly, but he stayed patient and hopeful. As the years passed, Albert wrote a theory that would change the world. He called it the theory of relativity. People everywhere were amazed by his work. They called him a genius, but Albert knew it was his curiosity and hard work that mattered. Even with his success, he remained humble. He said that anyone could achieve great things by staying curious and never giving up. Albert traveled to many countries to talk about his ideas. He met new friends and learned from other scientists. He always listened with an open heart, believing that everyone's questions were important. No matter where he went, Albert inspired others to keep learning, to stay patient, and to always believe in their dreams. His story became a light for people everywhere, showing that with hope, kindness, and hard work, anything is possible. Albert's journey was never easy, but he faced each challenge with a gentle spirit and a strong will to keep moving forward. He taught the world that learning never ends and that every day brings a new chance to grow and discover something new. Even as he grew older, Albert kept asking questions, finding joy in the simple beauty of the world around him. He left behind not only great ideas, but also the message that true success is about loving the journey, not just the goal. His life reminds us that every small step, every question, and every moment of patience can lead to something wonderful. Albert Einstein's journey shows that with curiosity and hope, even the quietest child can change the world for the better. Some mornings, Albert would wake up early, listening to the quiet sounds outside his window before the sun filled the room. He often prepared simple breakfast, thinking about new ideas as he poured his tea and enjoyed the gentle start of each day. At work, he greeted his colleagues with a smile, always polite. Even when life outside the patent office felt a little heavy, he would read inventions carefully, taking notes and sometimes wondering how tiny ideas could become important for people. After work, Albert liked to walk home through the city streets, feeling the cool air and letting his mind wander to old questions. The lights from the windows glowed softly, reminding him of the stars he watched as a child. These quiet moments brought comfort. In the evenings, he played his violin, letting the music fill the room. Sometimes he closed his eyes, feeling calm and inspired. When he had visitors, Albert shared stories and listened to others' dreams. He believed everyone's story had value and meaning. He often wrote letters to friends, sharing his thoughts and asking about their lives. He valued connection and kindness. Weekends were special for Albert. He spent time in nature, walking near rivers or sitting quietly under trees, thinking deeply. He watched the water move and tried to imagine how the world worked beyond what eyes could see. Nature was his quiet teacher. With each passing season, Albert's mind grew full of questions. Some days he felt close to answers, but other days he felt lost. Even when he doubted himself, he remembered how small steps mattered. He never rushed. He trusted time and steady work. Sometimes, memories of childhood would return, the compass in his hand, the gentle music from his mother's piano. These memories kept his hope alive. They reminded him that wonder and patience could lead to great discoveries one day. He wrote his thoughts into careful papers, sharing them with scientific journals, always eager for feedback and new ideas. Some papers were not noticed right away, but Albert kept writing, believing that one day his work would help others see new things. He met with a group of friends called the Olympia Academy. Together, they talked about books, philosophy, and science. These meetings filled his weekends with laughter and friendship, helping him grow both as a scientist and as a person. In these safe spaces, Albert found support to share his boldest ideas, knowing his friends would listen and challenge him kindly. The group read together, sometimes late into the night, discussing what made the universe so mysterious and beautiful. Albert learned that ideas grow best in a community of trust and respect, and this helped him become more confident each day. His job at the patent office did not always excite him, but it gave him time to think quietly, to develop ideas no one else saw. He learned to look at problems from different sides, to question every step, and to search for truth in the smallest details. When his first big paper was published, Albert felt proud but humble. He knew his journey was only beginning, not ending. His success brought new challenges. Suddenly, more people wanted to hear his thoughts, and he needed to explain his ideas simply. He practiced patience, trying to make his theories clear so others could understand and build on them in the future. When faced with doubt or criticism, Albert listened carefully, always open to learning and growing from every conversation. He knew that sometimes the best ideas took time for others to accept, and he did not let fear of rejection stop his work. Each day, he remembered the lessons of his parents: hard work, hope, and gentle patience, even when the road seemed long. As he gained more respect, Albert received invitations to speak at universities. He was nervous but prepared with care. He practiced his talks, hoping to inspire others and show that curiosity was the most important tool for any young scientist. Albert's life was full of long days, gentle music, patient study, and quiet reflection. He never lost the joy of learning. He tried to help his students see that every mistake was a step forward, a sign of growth and a lesson for tomorrow. When his theory of relativity became famous, Albert's world changed. He traveled often, meeting new people and sharing his ideas. He found joy in hearing students' questions and seeing their excitement about science. Their wonder reminded him of his own youth. Even as his fame grew, Albert chose a simple life. He valued small moments, like reading in the sun or talking with friends. His work opened doors to new questions about the universe. Each discovery made him more curious, never less. He wrote to friends about his travels, telling stories of cities, new foods, and the kindness of people from far away. Sometimes, Albert missed the quiet days of his youth, but he was grateful for every step that led him to this moment. He knew that each person's path was different, and he encouraged others to follow their curiosity wherever it led them. Albert supported young scientists, reading their work and offering advice, always patient and hopeful for their future. He remembered what it felt like to be unsure and lost, so he tried to give others the encouragement he once needed himself. As the world changed around him, Albert continued to learn. He believed learning was for life, not just for school. He wrote books and letters, trying to make science clear for everyone. He wanted people to see that the universe belonged to all. Albert found happiness in simple things: hot tea, a good book, a letter from a friend, or the sound of rain outside. Even when work became difficult, he found comfort in music. His violin was a close friend on quiet, thoughtful nights. He enjoyed peaceful walks, finding inspiration in nature's patterns. Each season brought new questions and quiet joys. With every success, Albert stayed humble. He knew that behind every achievement was 1,000 small moments of patience. He shared his belief that every person has value and that kindness and curiosity can change the world step by step. As he grew older, Albert reflected on his journey. He remembered struggles, but he also remembered every lesson they taught him. He told students that failure was nothing to fear, that true learning came from trying, making mistakes, and trying again. Albert watched the world with hopeful eyes, believing that science could help people understand and care for one another. He gave talks, met leaders, and wrote about peace, always hoping his work could bring people closer together. He knew that knowledge was a gift, and he felt lucky to spend his life sharing it with others, young and old alike. Albert's journey was never just about science. It was about kindness, patience, and believing in the beauty of simple questions. He never stopped learning or teaching, always eager to see what tomorrow would bring, no matter how uncertain. Even in hard times, he found strength in hope and friendship. He knew that together, people could solve even the biggest problems. Albert's story became famous around the world. But he wanted to be remembered not just for his ideas, but for his love of learning. He spent his last years quietly, still reading, still writing, and still asking questions as if he were a boy once more. He encouraged others to never stop dreaming, to be patient with themselves, and to find joy in the search for understanding. His life was a gentle reminder that greatness is found not in rushing, but in loving each moment and learning along the way. Albert's journey inspires people everywhere to trust themselves, to stay curious, and to believe that small steps matter. With every new question, Albert proved that the world is full of wonder, waiting for those who dare to look a little closer. Sometimes Albert watched the rain fall against his window. The soft sound helped him think about his dreams for the future. On quiet afternoons, he enjoyed reading letters from friends far away, smiling as he learned about their own journeys and hopes. Albert answered every letter with care, sharing advice and encouragement. He believed in the power of kind words. He liked to sit in his favorite chair, lost in thought, while sunlight danced on the pages of his old notebooks. The gentle ticking of the clock reminded him that time passed slowly, and every moment was a chance to learn something new. When he felt uncertain, Albert remembered his childhood curiosity. He trusted that questions, not answers, made life beautiful. He often met with students in the university garden, sitting beneath wide trees and discussing new ideas under the open sky. Albert listened carefully to every question, no matter how simple. He wanted his students to feel heard and valued. Sometimes he shared stories from his early years, telling them how patience and small steps led to great discoveries. He believed everyone had the power to change the world, even if they started from quiet, ordinary places like he once did. In the evenings, Albert walked home under the stars, thinking about how the same sky had inspired him since he was a boy. He enjoyed simple meals, warm tea, and quiet moments with friends, always finding joy in life's gentle routines. He wrote down his thoughts each night, filling notebooks with questions, dreams, and small lessons learned from every day. Albert's heart stayed young, even as his hair turned white. He believed hope could make even the hardest paths easier. Sometimes he watched the sunrise and promised himself to stay curious, no matter how much he already knew. He traveled to new countries, meeting other scientists and learning from their cultures, foods, and ways of thinking. He learned that everyone, everywhere, asked the same big questions about life, about love, about why the stars shine. When people argued, Albert tried to bring peace, reminding them that working together could solve even the hardest problems. He became a symbol of hope for many. People wrote to him for advice, and he always answered with gentle honesty. Albert saw science as a way to connect people. He dreamed of a world where knowledge brought peace instead of fear. When life was busy or confusing, Albert played his violin to remember the calm and beauty of his mother's music. He missed his family sometimes, remembering how their love had shaped his gentle heart and curious mind. Albert enjoyed teaching children, helping them discover the magic hidden in simple questions about the world around them. He showed them that even a small compass, a leaf, or a shadow could inspire big dreams and great discoveries. His kindness touched many lives, and his patient teaching inspired young people to follow their own paths with courage. Even when others doubted him, Albert stayed true to himself. He never let fear of failure stop him from trying new things. He believed that mistakes were teachers, and every error could become a step toward understanding something new. When awards and honors came, Albert accepted them with humility, always reminding people that everyone's work was important. He loved sharing his story, showing that success was not about being the fastest or the smartest, but about loving the journey. As he grew older, Albert slowed his pace, taking time to enjoy the little things, a blooming flower, a quiet morning, a smile. He reflected on the past, grateful for every lesson, every friend, and every challenge that helped him grow. Albert often reminded people that true happiness came from curiosity, kindness, and the courage to keep learning. He wrote letters to young scientists, telling them to believe in their questions, even if the answers seemed far away. He believed that every person's life could bring light to the world, no matter how small their beginning. Albert's days became quieter, but his mind stayed active, always searching for new ideas and gentle truths. He read old books, learning new things from familiar pages, never tired of asking what else the world could teach him. His friends visited often, sharing laughter, tea, and long talks about science, art, and life's small wonders. Albert loved listening to others' stories, always learning from their joys, their struggles, and their unique ways of thinking. He knew that life was full of change, but he trusted that kindness and hope would always be important. He tried to live simply, never letting fame or success change his gentle heart or curious spirit. When people asked for his advice, He told them to be patient with themselves and to trust in the slow work of learning. He encouraged everyone to notice the beauty in each day, to celebrate small victories, and to keep moving forward. Albert's story showed that greatness begins with wonder and that patient hearts can shape the world for the better. As time passed, he felt proud of his journey, not for the awards, but for the joy of helping others find their own way. He watched the world change, new discoveries being made, and he felt grateful to be part of a long, beautiful story of learning. Even near the end of his life, Albert woke up with hope, still eager to learn something new or help a friend in need. He believed that curiosity was a gift for everyone and that the best discoveries were still waiting to be found. He wrote about peace, hoping that future generations would use knowledge not for war, but for understanding and kindness. His last years were peaceful, filled with gentle reflection, warm friendships, and the steady joy of learning and sharing. When people asked about the secret to his success, Albert smiled and said it was simple: never stop being curious. He left behind a world changed by his ideas, but also by his gentle example of hope, patience, and loving the journey. Even after he was gone, Albert Einstein's story continued to inspire people of all ages to follow their own dreams with courage. His life reminds us that every question is a door to a new adventure, and that patience turns small steps into great journeys. He taught that true success is not about being perfect, but about loving the process of growing and discovering every day. Albert's story lives on in the hearts of dreamers, reminding us to find wonder in the ordinary and hope in every new day. Albert sometimes remembered his early school days. The long classrooms, the strict teachers, and the gentle hope in his heart. He remembered how, as a young boy, he often felt misunderstood. His thoughts moved slowly, but he learned to be patient. Each lesson was like a puzzle. Some days the pieces fit together. Other days, he had to wait for understanding to come. The feeling of being different never left him, but he learned that his questions made him special, not strange. He remembered the joy of holding the compass, watching the needle point north, and dreaming about the unseen forces in the world. Albert knew the value of silence. Many of his best ideas grew during quiet walks when only the wind and birds were near. He liked to watch the world move at its own pace, clouds drifting, water flowing, shadows stretching across the grass. Even as an adult, Albert took time for slow mornings, drinking tea by the window, reading letters, and planning his gentle day. He wrote notes in the margins of books, always searching for new meaning, always questioning what others accepted as true. When students visited, Albert listened more than he spoke. He wanted to know what excited their hearts and minds. He believed every child was born with a bright curiosity, and it was the world's job to keep that light shining. Sometimes he walked through the city at night, listening to the distant laughter and feeling connected to every life around him. He saw the world as one big classroom, full of lessons, mistakes, and small victories waiting for patient learners. Albert found beauty in ordinary things: a leaf, a stone, the pattern of raindrops on glass. These small wonders gave him joy. He kept his violin close, playing softly in the evening, letting the music fill the quiet spaces between his thoughts. He told his friends that music and science were alike. They both searched for patterns and harmony, for truth in simple things. His life grew busier with time, but Albert protected his quiet routines. He knew rest was as important as hard work. He told young people that rest was not laziness, but a way to help the mind grow strong and ready for new challenges. Albert enjoyed meeting people from different countries. Each conversation opened his mind and brought fresh inspiration. He believed that no idea was too small and that every question could lead to a better world if we listened closely enough. Sometimes, when work felt too heavy, Albert took a day off. He walked in the hills, watched clouds, and let his worries fade. He trusted that answers would come if he stayed patient, open, and true to his gentle curiosity. His friends valued his calm wisdom. When they felt lost, they turned to him, knowing he would listen with kindness. Albert reminded them that problems were not walls but doors. With hope, each door could be opened, one small step at a time. He saw mistakes as seeds for learning, and he celebrated every effort, not just every success. Albert wrote many letters to people he never met. His words were simple, full of hope, and meant to encourage young dreamers. He believed knowledge belonged to everyone, not just the few, and he worked to make science easy to understand for all. When newspapers wrote about his theories, Albert hoped people would see that every big idea began with small questions. He enjoyed answering children's questions, finding joy in their honesty and their fearless way of seeing the world. Even in his old age, he loved learning new things, a new song, a new book, a new story from a friend. He saw each day as a fresh page, a chance to write new dreams and build new understanding. His journey taught him that real strength was in kindness, patience, and the courage to keep asking why, even when others stopped. He spoke gently to his students, guiding them to find their own answers rather than giving easy solutions. Albert believed that teaching was not about filling minds, but about opening hearts to wonder and discovery. When he saw young people struggle, he shared stories of his own hard times, showing them that even heroes have doubts. He told them not to fear slow progress, for every step forward is a victory, no matter how small it seems. Sometimes, Albert remembered his parents' quiet sacrifices. Their hope and love were the foundation of his gentle strength. He wrote about peace, believing that science should help people care for each other, not build walls between them. He dreamed of a future where children could learn freely, asking any question and following their hearts without fear. Albert spent many hours reading letters from strangers, answering each one with care, no matter how busy his days became. He saw each letter as a bridge between hearts and minds, a sign that curiosity and kindness could travel any distance. He told people that everyone, even the quietest child, could make a difference if they dared to wonder and learn. Albert's home was simple, filled with books, music, and reminders of friends and family who had shaped his life. He often cooked his own meals, finding comfort in familiar tastes and the slow, careful work of preparing food. His kitchen was a place for thinking, too. While stirring soup or baking bread, ideas sometimes bubbled up in his mind. He knew that even ordinary tasks could inspire new thoughts if we pay attention and stay open to learning. Albert loved to watch birds outside his window, noticing their careful flight and cheerful songs. He found joy in little things, a flower blooming, a letter from a friend, a child's question, or a quiet walk in the sun. He believed that every day offered a new lesson, even if it came dressed in simple, familiar clothes. Albert taught that happiness was found not in fame or wealth, but in loving each moment and learning with an open heart. He encouraged his friends to be gentle with themselves, to forgive mistakes, and to celebrate every effort. He shared stories of his own failures, reminding everyone that success was built on many small, hopeful tries. Albert's gentle laughter and wise eyes made people feel safe. In his presence, they found courage to be themselves. He told his students that true wisdom was knowing how little we truly know and being glad for every new thing learned. Even as his health grew weaker, Albert stayed curious. He read, wrote, and wondered until the very last days of his life. He believed that each of us can help the world by staying hopeful, working together, and never giving up on learning. Albert's final years were peaceful, filled with reflection, quiet study, and the warmth of close friendships. He wrote that love and curiosity were the greatest forces, stronger than fear, able to change the world with gentle power. As he looked back on his life, Albert was grateful. Every struggle, every quiet moment had shaped him into who he was. He hoped the world would remember him not just for his science, but for his belief in the goodness of people and the beauty of questions. His story became a lantern for others, lighting the way for new dreamers, thinkers, and gentle hearts. Even now, Albert Einstein's name inspires millions to look up at the stars, to wonder, and to keep learning all their lives. His life teaches us that with patience, kindness, and curiosity, every person can walk their own beautiful journey. No step is too small, no question too simple, and no heart too quiet to make a difference in the world. Let us remember Albert's gentle path and keep asking, learning, and sharing one hopeful step at a time. Albert sometimes watched the sun set slowly, coloring the sky with gentle pink and orange light. These moments calmed his mind. He remembered his first questions about the stars and how those questions never really left him, even after many long years. Albert believed that wonder was the start of every good thing in life. He cherished that simple feeling as if it were gold. When the world seemed complicated, he focused on small, clear moments, a warm cup of tea, a bird's song, the laughter of a friend. He often walked along quiet paths in nature, noticing the changing seasons, the wind in the trees, and the peace of open skies. His thoughts wandered gently, drifting between memories of childhood and the new ideas that still filled his mind each day. Sometimes he stopped to help a stranger or listen to a neighbor's troubles. He knew kindness could change a person's day. Albert believed every person had something special to offer. He saw beauty in the quiet dreams of people everywhere. He kept his home open to friends, students, and visitors. All were welcome, and every conversation mattered to him. He encouraged everyone who visited to ask questions, listen closely, and never be afraid of making mistakes while learning. Albert's desk was always full of papers and books, each one a piece of his long journey reminders of work, patience, and hope. He believed that learning was not a race. It was a garden where seeds of curiosity grew slowly with care and time. Each night, as he finished his reading, Albert thought about the next day and what new lessons or surprises it might bring. He knew that the world was always changing, but the need for kindness, curiosity, and courage would always stay the same. Sometimes he laughed at the memory of being called slow or different as a child. Now he saw those moments as gifts. They taught him to be patient with others and to see every person's journey as unique and important, never to be rushed. Albert's story inspired people everywhere, not just for his science, but for his gentle heart and belief in simple, honest living. When he spoke at events, he tried to encourage the next generation to be brave, to be kind, and to trust in their dreams. He reminded young people that even a small question could open the door to great discoveries if they dared to follow it. When he returned home, Albert felt most at peace in his quiet study, surrounded by old books and the gentle glow of a lamp. He wrote his final thoughts in careful letters, hoping that his words would guide and comfort others long after he was gone. Albert believed that life was a series of new beginnings. Every day offered a chance to learn, to change, and to love a little more. He found joy in giving advice to those who asked, sharing stories about mistakes, lessons, and unexpected blessings. Albert's gentle voice reminded people that it was normal to feel lost sometimes and that hope was the strongest compass. He taught that true courage was found in the willingness to try again, even after failure or doubt. Sometimes he felt a quiet pride, not for the awards, but for the many lives he had touched with his words and his kindness. Albert often told friends that the best legacy was not in discoveries, but in the seeds of hope and curiosity planted in others. He watched the world change quickly around him, new inventions and ideas growing in every corner of the earth. He cheered for young scientists, artists, and dreamers, always believing that the future belonged to those who cared deeply. When life felt uncertain, Albert focused on what he could control: gentle habits, careful work, and treating everyone with respect. He saw each new day as a blank page, ready for questions, laughter, and maybe even a small discovery waiting to be found. As he grew older, Albert moved a bit slower, but his mind remained quick, filled with bright ideas and gentle dreams. He listened more, talked less, and found great joy in the stories of those around him, no matter how simple or grand. He believed that true greatness was not in being the loudest, but in being the most curious, patient, and kind-hearted. Albert's life became a gentle echo, heard in the quiet courage of those who learned from his story and followed their own paths. He spent his final years with close friends, sharing meals, stories, and the comfort of knowing that he had lived fully and well. He watched the seasons change and found peace in the rhythm of the earth, grateful for every lesson learned along the way. In his last days, Albert looked back on a life shaped by wonder and patience, feeling thankful for every step of his journey. He wrote a simple note for the world, reminding people that questions are the first steps toward understanding and wisdom. Albert believed that each person could make the world better, not through big gestures, but by small acts of hope and kindness. He hoped that future generations would keep asking, keep learning, and keep dreaming with open hearts and curious minds. As he rested in his old chair, surrounded by books and gentle light, Albert felt at peace, knowing his journey had meaning. His heart was full of gratitude for the people he had met, the lessons he had learned, and the beauty he had found in simple things. He knew that even when he was gone, his story would live on in the gentle courage and curiosity of others. Albert Einstein's life was not just about genius or fame, but about the slow, steady work of loving the journey itself. He showed the world that patience, kindness, and a willingness to learn are the true paths to greatness and joy. His story continues to shine like a lantern in the dark, lighting the way for every dreamer, student, and gentle soul who follows. Albert believed that every ending is only the beginning of a new adventure, full of questions, hope, and quiet wonder. And so his legacy lives on in every child who asks, why? In every heart that dares to hope and in every mind that keeps learning. His life invites us to walk gently, think deeply, and share our questions, knowing that the world is richer for every dream we hold. Albert Einstein's journey reminds us that every life, no matter how quiet or unusual, can help change the world for the better. With patience, courage, and love for the small mysteries around us, each of us can shape our own beautiful, lasting story. Let his story inspire you to keep asking, keep learning, and keep sharing your gentle light one hopeful step at a time.